Hello everyone. In this session, you will understand how to perform production execution against a production order. The objective enables you to understand production execution and its associated terms in the context of business processes. Before performing production execution in Onfinity ERP, a configured tenant is required. Organizations should be configured, and production orders should already be available in the system. Now understand what production execution is. Production execution is the phase in manufacturing where the plans defined in the production order are carried out on the shop floor. It involves transforming raw materials into finished products according to defined production instructions. Now understand the steps involved in production execution. The first step is issuing components to the production order, which means releasing required materials for production. The second step is production in progress, where manufacturing operations are executed. This includes moving from waiting to process, processing to finish, completing operations, moving finished items to the next operation, and handling scrap if required. Once all operations are completed, the final step is transferring the finished assembly to the store, which means moving finished goods to inventory or warehouse. Now move to the system to see how production execution is performed. You can search production execution using the search utility, or navigate to manufacturing management, and then manufacturing transactions, where you will find production execution. You can open production execution and view open production orders for a selected warehouse. You can select a production order and create a new record. You can select the warehouse, for example SV Manufacturing, and choose the transaction type as component issued to production order. You can select the locator from where materials will be issued, such as motorbike assembly. The remaining details will be automatically populated. You can save the record and then click on Create Component Transaction Lines. The system will ask whether you want to issue materials for a specific operation or for the entire production. This depends on the production classification setup. To understand whether materials should be issued for a specific operation or for the entire production in one go, you can refer to the production classification video. At the production classification level, the method of material issuance is defined. You can enter the quantity, for example 50 units. If partial production is required, you can adjust the quantity. After processing, the system generates lines for required components such as engine, chassis, seat, tires, and headlights. If stock is available, the system allows completion. If stock is not available, the system will not allow you to complete the transaction. You can review issued quantities for each component. These quantities are derived from the production order, and you can also add or modify components if required. You can go back to the header and complete the record. Once completed, component quantities are deducted from the warehouse. To verify the impact, you can open the production order and check operations. You will see quantities moved into the queue stage. In Material Details, you will see issued quantities updated. After issuing components, the next step is to execute operations. You can create a new production execution record and select transaction type as production order in progress. You can select the locator and define the operation movement. For example, from waiting to process. After saving and completing the record, the system updates production status. You can continue executing operations step by step. For example, move from process to finish. Then move to the next operation, such as quality inspection. From waiting to process. And then to finish. At each step, the system updates quantities and statuses in the background within the production order. Once all operations are completed, you will notice that produced quantity is available but not yet moved to inventory. The final step is to transfer the assembly to the store. You can create a new transaction with type assembly transfer to store. You can enter the quantity, for example, 50 units. If serial numbers or batch numbers are applicable, you can define them. If attributes are configured, the system will generate attribute lines accordingly. Once you complete this transaction, finished goods are moved to the warehouse, and the production order reflects that quantities are fully transferred. In this way, you can complete production execution transactions in the system. You can observe that multiple transactions are performed in sequence, starting from component issue, then operation execution, and finally assembly transfer to store. In the advanced version of manufacturing, you can also record time against cost drivers and use that information to calculate the indirect cost and direct cost for each production order. The system can calculate material consumption and overall production cost. In the standard version, you can create production orders and perform production execution as demonstrated. That is all in this session. Thank you for attending.